My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Yes, it's the one we've been waiting for. We've been building up to it. India versus Pakistan. It was probably about 4 years in the making. Maybe some will say 2 since the Champions Trophy. But match number 22. For many people, it's numero uno, match number 1. A lot of the build-up to this game has been about the numbers. No, not statistics on the field. It's about rain percentages. And I think the gentleman in the studio will agree, Robin Uthappa, Harsha Bhogle, we've been focusing as much about 35%, 40%, 50% rather than how many wickets and how many
I'll tell you what, before a ball has been bowled, the weather apps have won. Everybody's on the weather apps. Forget it. The game's going to start. I think it's a very good toss to win because of whatever reports we're getting is that slightly damp. They're playing 2 spinners, overhead, duck-with low. It's a good toss to win. It doesn't mean you win the game. The better team still wins, but it's a very good toss to win. That's my gut feel.
Yeah, I think the fact that both teams are going with similar kind of lineups, with 2 spinners, 3 fast bowlers, I think everything that we've been discussing over the last few days seems null and void right now because both teams have enough information there to go with the lineup that they've gone with. So there must be something in the wicket for spinners that they've gone with, a couple of spinners each. It'll be an interesting game. I think a good toss to win. Under the circumstances.
But it's slightly damp, it'll favour the spinners as well.
It will. It'll get a little sticky, so it'll just kind of hold on the wicket just a little bit more. So you don't know how, and it could be advantageous to India as well, bowling second, because generally on damp wickets, there's a possibility of dents forming in the first innings, which can be kind of exploited in the second innings. So you never know we'll only know after first 10 overs happen on that pitch.
Well, let's just remind you once again what's happened at the toss in the history of India-Pakistan World Cup encounters. Every time the captain has won the toss, he has decided to bat first. And we've had a change for the first time ever. Field first is what we've had from Sarfraz, and I guess the overhead conditions had a lot to do with it. Virat Kohli admitting he would have done exactly the same. But for Pakistan, an important game, because if you have a look at the context of the game being played, and that is of course the points table. Here is where things stand. 2 ends of the table pretty much. India with 3 games have got 5 points already. Pakistan having played a game extra with only 3 points on the board, including that 1 washout. So a loss for them would be a huge concern, which is why obviously it's a big game, but if you have to really say it, for Pakistan, even bigger the 2 points.
Yeah, I think Pakistan need to win 4 out of 5. So if they lose today, they've got to win every single game, even to finish on 11. If India win this game, I think India are already through, given the teams India have to play. But we look at that points table at the end of the game, and then we'll see what it's looking like.
Certainly will be, but it's a strange old rivalry if you look at India-Pakistan. It just depends on which end of 40 or which end of 35 you happen to be, because in the history of the game, probably even hockey's got a similar parallel to it. There was a time when you couldn't decide which team would possibly win. Look at the late 70s, early 80s. The numbers don't lie. India won 8, Pakistan won 8. Then you could see from May 1986 to 2000, 44 wins for Pakistan. Then the table's sort of turning, and this is not talking about World Cups. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But
last 5 or 6 games, if you look at last 5 or 6 games, other than the Champions Trophy win that literally came out of nowhere. I mean, the ball's always been opposite the opposition's goal, and suddenly there's a breakaway goal at the other end. That's all that game was. But apart from those games, there hasn't been a close game. India won all those quite easily. And while we're looking at these numbers and we're saying, don't get complacent, Pakistan are looking at the same numbers. And they're saying, oops, we need to play out of our skins here, because if both teams play par, which is how you judge a game, right?
Yep.
If both teams play to potential, who should win? I think both teams play to potential, India are favourites.
Yeah, today, yeah, absolutely. I think going from personnel to personnel, I think the fact that India have been extremely successful in the quality and the caliber of players within the groups, within India's group is far superior, with all due respect to Pakistan.
For a big game, we allowed you that phrase one time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, but I think
it's a momentum.
No, he said another phrase while you were away.
With all due respect.
Yes.
I mean, with all due respect, it's a very polite way of coming hard at somebody.
Exactly. That's how it started, Harsha. That's how it started. Somebody said, with all due respect, something about probably the My 11 Circle expert couch, and we said, what you meant to say was, what you're saying is rubbish.
You know Vijay Shankar well? I mean, is he the kind who will get caught up by the situation, saying, I've dreamt of this since I was a kid. I've dreamt of playing for India. Oh, I'm 28.
I don't know him really well for me to
The reason why Harsha's asking that is because that's confirmation that the debate between DK and VS was answered in Vijay Shankar's favour.
Because he's playing at a very crucial position. Suppose India 15 for 2. Is he going out thinking, you know what, man, this is my opportunity? Or is he going out thinking, oops? You know, so that'll determine. That's why I said, what kind of person is he?
It's hard to call that one, I think. It's quite hard to call because not a lot of people have seen him bat in number 4 in a difficult situation and see how he comes through. Even in first class cricket, I haven't seen him really.
No, he's not batted 4.
He's never batted 4 in an ODI. The 5 ODIs he's played, so that's a case of the lack of experience. This is his performance in ODIs, and we've seen it started at the Basin Reserve in Wellington, or it wasn't the Basin, it was the Cape
Did he bat at number 4 there?
Trust.
No, he didn't bat number 4 in that
In
first
fact,
game in Wellington.
he got into the side based on some really good run chases for India A.
India A.
But there also he batted 5.
So you could probably see him batted 5 itself in today's game.
You got your Dhoni theory, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
But also, you were very clear that you favoured DK, wanted him perhaps at 5, Dhoni at 4, but and we were trying to discount the bowling aspect, given that we've got so many bowling options. But at the toss, Virat said we're looking at those overs.
That's right, yeah. I definitely think he plays that 4th fast bowler role along with, added to Hardik, and the 2 spinners also stay within the side. So Chaku's still there.
You've been watching Virat closely. He's talking like a monk.
He is.
Suddenly, Virat Kohli, the monk, he is talking about, no, just another game. He's calm. Even at the toss, he was calm. He was looking somewhere else.
I quite like that.
He's almost underplaying it too.
I quite like it. He definitely
Were
is
you like that at the World T20 when you played, for example? Was the Indian team very calm?
Yeah, actually, Dhoni had that demeanor through the whole tournament, and that kind of rubbed off on everybody. And we were very particular in that tournament to take one game at a time, also because we were novices at T20 cricket at that point in time, right? And so we'll just said, let's really enjoy each other's company. Let's make sure we play one game at a time, not look too far ahead. So even when we played Pakistan happened to be our second game in the tournament. The first game was washed out, and in that game also we were like, okay, let's just go and play good cricket. But yeah, the atmosphere outside the ground, outside the ropes were very different. But when inside the field, it was.
That's actually the point Virat made, didn't he?
He did, but Harsha, I'd beg to differ to a certain extent there, because that tournament, the format itself was not as recognised in world cricket. This is 50 over cricket, so the fact that Virat's underplaying this is an even bigger contrast to say what Mickey Arthur said. Let's just reiterate for you. For us, it's a professional approach to the game. We can't get too emotional or too overexcited with any occasion that we play in. Mindset remains the same, and pretty much these are words that he echoed at the toss. But in sharp contrast to Mickey Arthur, who
Can we stay on this for a minute? If you look at the words that he's using. You could say that, professional approach, we can't get too emotional. And again, he's saying being professional, and taking responsibility. So these are things that stand out. So what he's thinking about is not this game. He's looking at the larger picture. He's looking at winning the World Cup. And this is just...
He actually said, our World Cup is not going to change based on the outcome
of this match. Yeah, exactly. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to focus on the larger picture, and perhaps that's why he's seeming more monk-like right now. And even that whole Rabada incident at the start of the tournament, he said, you know what, as if he has to say something, we'll discuss it man to man. He played that down as well. So you know that he's focusing on the larger picture. I think he's very clear that winning the championship, winning the World Cup is what he wants to do. So he's going to focus on winning the championship and not worried about these processes or the games within the tournament.
You think if Bhuvi gets a wicket first ball, say Bhuvi gets Fakhar Zaman first ball, you think he'll be standing like this?
No, make no mistake.
He's been there.
Make no mistake. His intensity within the ground would be, very Virat-esque that we've seen so far from him. But I think with the making decisions and those kind of things, or before a game, after a game, he's just worried about the processes.
I could not agree more. I think it's the right approach.
But how important or how different is it, the fact that India are in such a good position and it's a league stage, and he's right, that if you don't get 2 points here, it's not the end of the world. How different from, say, 1996 quarterfinal, 2011 semi-final? Those were knockout games.
Those were knockout games.
You can't hide from those.
I'm very curious to see what Mickey Arthur has said. Because
I have a theory about that as well.
Yeah, because I get the feeling that if you tell Pakistan play calm, then you take away their DNA. That Pakistan are at
more than take away the DNA. I think if you look at Pakistan and where they are in the tournament, today is a do or die game for them, right? And if they lose this game, they're essentially out of the contention of the semi-finals. So how do you boost the morale of this side given the situation they're in? Where would they like to focus more, on an India-Pakistan game or a do or die match, and then you go out if you're not on the winning side of this game? So what's easier for them to deal with? I think what's easier for them to deal with is make this an India-Pakistan game. Make this a game that Pakistan have to win, and then if they win this game, they have momentum going forward into the tournament, right? So I think that's why Mickey Arthur is speaking the language that he's speaking, to make sure his team's like amped up for this game.
I'm imagining Mickey Arthur, the South African accent, sitting in that room, and he's saying, "Today is the day to become a hero." Now, are people going to say "Nahi hua to," or are they going to say "Oye, karenge"? It depends on how each individual player is. Because I remember Wasim telling me the '99 World Cup final, everybody is coming and saying, "Yeah, World Cup jeetenge, ye karenge, wo karenge," and he said, team suddenly said, "Har gaye to." So I'd be interested in seeing how Mickey Arthur's reaction is to the different characters
within the group.
Interesting, Robin. We had a discussion earlier about where you'd like to play whom in a format like this, if you could choose your format. And I think in hindsight, if Pakistan could choose it, they'd rather have played India at a stage when it was not do or die.
Yeah, of course. That it would have probably been more interesting.
If they're a better side than this, it would have been.
But I actually think that given that team, I think the best of Pakistan would come out in a situation like this than in a game where it's not a do or die game for them.
I agree. Could not agree. Shorter the game, the better it is for Pakistan, because that little bit of emotion, adrenaline will do it. They're batting very deep today.
Two spinners, that's the big one. The two changes in the team.
I asked him whether it's a slightly dampish surface. So they've got those 5 bowlers, plus they've got Hafiz and Shoaib Malik. So they've dropped Asif Ali. So they've got enough bowling options today, completely in contrast to the last game when they had only 4 bowling options. And they had to use Hafiz and Shoaib to bowl 10 overs. So they've packed their side with bowling. I think it's a far better balanced side than some of the others. This is the side that we'd actually put out for Pakistan before the World Cup.
Also, talk about continuity. 9 players from the Champions Trophy final are in this lineup. Junaid Khan is the one missing. Wahab Riaz is now there, and Azhar Ali is no longer part of the setup. Yep. So that's the only other change with Imam ul Haq, the young student coming in.
Well, I have no idea why they've gone to 2 spinners. And Shadab, it's not like he got wickets in the games that he played as well. So Imad, I'd understand because of Asif Ali, and he is also a batsman. But Imad is also a batsman who can bowl a bit and tonks it a bit. So fair enough, you made a change for like. But this one also adds that variety of bowling, some left arm spin. But Shadab Khan, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think India would be well equipped to
India
deal
play
with
leg spin really well.
Yeah, and he's not even a leg spinner who bowls slow through the air. He's someone who bowls quick through the air, likes to really hit the ball into the ground. So I don't know how useful he'll be here, unless, like you said, the wicket's sticky.
Yeah. For all of you who've been keeping an eye on our previews, and you've stuck in Shaheen Shah Afridi and Mohammad Shami in your My 11 Circle teams, get them out right now, quickly. Because if you haven't made your team yet, here's a quick reminder: download the app. India versus Pakistan, not hard to spot in there. And a man who's been part of many India-Pakistan contests will be picking his own team. The only thing you can be sure that Dada will be forced to pick a few players, because you have to balance it, India and Pakistan. So you need to do exactly the same. Dada Kavada, 5 times the amount of cash. That's as far as the My 11 Circle team is concerned. We've got our own little contest going on within our studio. But again, I think Robin summed it up beautifully yesterday. Talk about the difference between the mental battle against an Australia and the emotional battle. So Virat's not showing his emotions, but I think inside...
Also, I suspect it will be there inside,
Gautam.
I mean, 100% it will be there inside, because you're human and everybody is watching. You're going to be a hero today if you go and do well. But I think the whole communication in that Indian camp would have been stay calm. And I like that, because when you're calm, your mind is ticking. Your mind is thinking, what do I do? When you're adrenaline rushed, then you're not thinking. And therefore, I actually believe you become an easier opponent if someone's got rush of adrenaline. That's why I said longer game, India's the favorite. Shorter game, you never know what will happen.
Yeah. Robin, the man you've been talking about, who you want at number 4, MSD, also landmark for him, the second most capped Indian player. And look at that, 341 appearances, going past Rahul Dravid, second only to the great SRT. And I think it's what a game to actually get to this landmark on. Not that he'll be like Virat Kohli, he'll play it down. He'll say, what, 341 really? What's that? Is that the time?
I'm sure he's not even aware of it.
Exactly.
I think it's us out here who's actually talking about it, and it's a subject to talk about, right? Because it's MS and probably his last tournament in international cricket. So I'm sure he's just unaware of this.
He's unaware of it, but his presence. I mean, you talked about his presence in that 2007 World T20 final and the game before that. He's still around.
Oh,
just the hair's shorter. That's all.
Yeah.
And a little grayer.
Yeah, he's a lot grayer, a lot more grayer, but
Bulked up a little more?
no, I think he's gotten leaner.
No, but he's been gymming a lot.
Yeah, he's been looking after his health. He understands that the needs of international cricket, he needs to stay fitter and stronger, and so he's obviously paying attention.
But Robin, the grey, along with the grey comes the experience. And in a contest like this, we talk about the young upstarts, we talk about individual performances. How big is his experience?
Huge. Any team that Dhoni plays for, his contribution is huge anyway. Plus, again, two spinners. Remember, the spinners tend to bowl better when Dhoni is standing up to them. So, yeah, it'll be it's a huge factor in also just to calm everybody else around. Look, this Indian team is not short on experience. We talked about Vijay Shankar, but look how much Rohit Sharma has played, how much Virat Kohli has played, how much Bhuvneshwar has played, how much
Bumrah.
Yeah, Bumrah, Dhoni. They've played a lot of cricket. Even Pandya has been around for a while, so they know what it is.
So I think in a game like this, you couldn't have asked for a better player than MS out there to just the calming effect he has on everyone. He's someone who makes sure that he's in the present and that he leads that by example, and everyone looks at him and says, that's what we need to replicate. Just stay in the present. And I think that's what Virat has been trying to do, making sure that he reminds everyone to stay in the present, remain professional, take responsibility. That's the language that he's been speaking, which is essential in a game like this.
Now with Old Trafford, you might be surprised to hear it because if you've focused on the teams that we've just shown you, Pakistan bringing in two spinners, India sticking with their two spinners and not getting Mohammad Shami in, you'd be thinking, is this a turning track? Does Old Trafford have a history of that? Answer is no. Which is why Robin Uthappa is surprised with Pakistan bringing in two spinners. And these numbers actually support that. 38 wickets in 4 matches in 191 overs for pace at Old Trafford since 2015. And that probably suggests those numbers plus the overhead conditions, you'd be wondering what is this whole turn towards spin.
Just want a longer boundaries maybe, so they think there's the straight boundaries are 82
Great
meters.
point. That could be one of the reasons.
It could be a reason saying you can toss it up, you go for it. That could be one reason. I think the dampness was a reason. You think with those 3 fast bowlers, he could just toss the new ball to Imad Wasim like he does so often. Imad Wasim always opens the bowling in World T20, in T20 games.
Could be.
If it's damp,
wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
He doesn't turn the ball.
No, not a big turner of the ball. So the fact that if the wicket's sticky, he could be a little deceptive because one would stick and turn, one would just skid on. So
he's done it before. The rain-affected Champions Trophy game at Edgbaston, India-Pakistan. Imad Wasim opened the bowling. So again, unexpected things can happen, but you really expect a threat up front to be one man, and you're probably again saying a 40 for no loss in 10 overs is not the worst result. It's a brilliant result.
It's not a bad start at all. Look, with Duckworth Lewis, remember everyone's talking Duckworth Lewis. If Duckworth Lewis is set before the start of the second innings, then the targets can be very high. If it starts into the innings, then the targets start to come down. So, I think Mohammad Amir, his comeback has been a huge shot in the arm. And everyone talked about Amir versus Virat. I think Amir versus Rohit is going to be
I think that's the contest that I really want to watch. Amir versus Rohit.
It's not swinging though.
Today
you never know.
You never know what because he's just coming back from he's coming into this game with a 5-wicket haul at the back of his the previous game. So he might be coming into this game with a lot of confidence. Maybe that rhythm's back in. Even sometimes just a 5-wicket haul before a game like this can really boost your confidence and make you feel really good about yourself, and everything might just realign itself, and you never know.
Also, let's remember, since you talked about the battle between Rohit Sharma and Mohammad Amir, and of course Virat as well, he has accounted for them in the past. In fact, the last time the two teams met in England.
And the ball was swinging that day, as it was in that fantastic spell he bowled in Dhaka, I think.
Yes.
He bowled a fantastic
He got
spell in Dhaka.
he got Rohit out in
The Asia Cup, yes.
the Asia Cup there.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, Virat had a very close appeal turned down. Then Virat went and turned the game around. So when the ball is swinging in, he's a completely different bowler. It's not been swinging here. So we'll wait and see if that happens today. I'm also waiting to see how KL Rahul bats. You know, as Robin
I'm
said.
glad we're not discussing KL Rahul. I want him to fly under the radar and get some big runs today.
Do a
No,
Chris
because
Woakes.
all along,
Yeah, do a Chris
said right
Woakes.
at the start, he's batting number 4. He's in his mind, all his preparation is I'm batting 4. Now suddenly he's been told, sorry, opening against Pakistan.
But I think it's a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise for KL, because that's his natural position, right? So I think, like I was saying earlier on one of the shows, that I'm sure he was batting the new ball even at number 4. You know, at practice he would have asked Raghu to throw the new ball at him, all the side arms to be throwing the new balls at him. So, and even whatever little we saw on television, I spotted a new ball. So I know that he'd be preparing as an opening batsman, irrespective of him batting at number 4. So the fact that he's opening the batting is, I think, a blessing in disguise for him, because I think he'll go out there and do well.
Also, he's had that, even though they didn't have a game, at least it wasn't something he was told last night.
Yeah, he's had ample time to kind of prepare himself mentally to get his processes in order. So yeah.
Yep. So we've again, there can be so much speculation. We talked about the lack of swing for Mitchell Starc. He picked up 4 wickets. Mohammad Amir hadn't had swing early in the tournament. He's coming off a 5 first. So don't always go by the conditions, because we've got 4 spinners plus part-time spinners playing in this game. That makes probably a total about 7 spinners who you could be thinking of in this game.
You're counting Kedar Jadhav also?
Yes, I am. Of course,
Oh,
I am.
he'll be doing a war dance.
Why not? Why not? He's bowled in this tournament. So it's time to get a little question in from Joy Bhattacharya. So let's quickly get to our Joy Factor question, which for today is of the top 10 Man of the Match award winners in ODI cricket, who has got the maximum percentage on one single ground, 19.3%. That's almost 1 in 5. He's also won 19.3% of all Man of the Match awards won on that particular ground.
So could it be that only 5 matches were played there, anyone won, so he got 19.3%?
The only thing we'll tell you is 30 matches were played on that ground. No other hints from you. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live, get the answers back. Match is about to start, so let's get our predictions in. Pakistan winning the toss, India into bat, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, the openers. Robin Uthappa, what's your score at the end of 50?
330.
It's a very difficult one to call. It's a fabulous call from you, man. 330.
I'm backing my team.
Yeah. You know what? If India make 330, order the sweets.
Game on?
Order the sweets.
Game over, rather.
Game over.
India make 330, game over.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain. I mean, you can't tell. If India make 330, obviously it's a good surface. And if India make 330, the Duckworth-Lewis score for Pakistan will be pretty high too. I'm going 285.
Right. Yeah, the number I had.
When you're the
picked is
punter.
safe.
Come on, you're the punter.
No, I'm
Come on.
going in between. I'm going in between. The number I had
That's an
already
easy one,
picked.
man. Come on, show us your
299.
individuality.
Nah.
Come on.
I
mean, you're the guy who sits with the 2 cricket balls around him all the time.
Not right now. Not right now. It's there. That's what we're playing for. The My 11 Circle Expert Couch. I'm going 299. So we've got a fairly wide spread. And that's what we have for you. India versus Pakistan. We're going to be back in the 15th over, and I think we'll get a good assessment of where we stand on Cricbuzz Combox. But of course, everything to wrap up on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.